Ofelia Calderon in Fairfax, Virginia. She's founding partner at Calderon Seguin PLC and an advocate for the immigration community. She also focuses on federal matters and removal cases. It's a pleasure having you on the program. Firstly, this week, the UN said the mass expulsion of Haitian migrants from the U.S. by authorities there could contravene international law and constitutes forced returns. Your thoughts?
I mean, it's clear that the UN is thinking, about the international human rights law, which says that we are obligated not to return individuals to countries where we believe that they will face harm as it's defined under the convention. I think it's possible. The Title 42 policy of returning people for health reasons means that we're not engaging in individualized screening processes, which is what we really have to do. I mean, if someone is at the border and they're telling you that they believe that they're going to be tortured upon return to their native country, then we have an obligation, or be harmed even, we have an obligation to permit them to apply for asylum and protection here. So it is very possible.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Can you just describe in more detail the process that determines who can stay in the U.S. when they arrive?
Well, I mean, it depends on what process we're talking about, because as I said, it's not really clear to me, I think to a lot of people, whether or not the process is happening the way that it should. So the idea is that when a foreign national presents at the port of entry or is apprehended along the way, right, or apprehended in the interior, and I guess I should take that back, by the border, is that they do an interview process right there. And when an individual indicates that they have a fear of return, they should be permitted to have an interview, something that's called a credible fear interview, with an asylum official who then interviews them more in depth and says to make a determination as to whether they have a credible fear. And if they have a credible fear, then they need to be permitted to come into the United States and to apply for asylum.
We're just looking at pictures here as you speak of border agents on horses chasing people on a river there. Under what conditions are deportations justifiable? We heard on Sunday that U.S. authorities starting deporting Haitian migrants back to their country. So under what conditions is that okay?
Well, I think that's two questions, right? One question is, when is deportation justifiable? And one question is whether or not the deportation of these Haitians in this particular circumstance is justifiable. I mean, by law, our law, the U.S. laws say that deportation is justifiable when someone is unlawfully in the United States and has no relief to apply for before an immigration court, or they've been ordered deported, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of a bigger picture, right? There are conditions under which deportations are justifiable. This issue of the Haitians is different, though, because it's not clear to anyone that they are being permitted to engage in the process that I described to you.
Fascinating. We appreciate your time, Ofelia Calderon there, live for us from Fairfax in Virginia. Thank you once more.